I like these rolling cabinets because they can put a lot of fun little things, and it's always worth a quick scan.
Hi, I'm George the Antique Nomad. Come with me as I wander the country in search of valuable vintage, amazing antiques, and cool collectibles. We'll buy, sell, and trade at antique malls, shops, and shows, estate sales, flea markets, thrift stores, anywhere people go to find really interesting things that just aren't made anymore. So come on, let's go! So it's George the Antique Nomad again, and I am at G&M Antiques and Thrift in Albany, Georgia. The fact that it's advertising both antiques and thrift means, well, we're all going to have fun, aren't we? So let's go see what they've got.
So right as soon as you get inside the door, you get the idea about this place. It's a mix of antiques and new stuff, arts, crafts. This is Hull Pottery's Butterfly, and the vase is from 1957. It's such a great design. It's very wild. And now that pink's coming back into style, I think that these are going to start to sell again. They only had $30 on this, but it does have a crack. Now that looks like it's a firing crack from the factory, but that doesn't make it any better. You can see right away that this is part thrift store, part secondhand store, and then antiques and vintage sprinkled in. This piece here is a company, let's see, who is this? Oh, Kaolina. Okay. Kaolina China, this is a little surprising because this looks like a 1950s drip glaze, but in reality, Kaolina mark is usually on things that look like fancy, frilly, semi-porcelain from the 1940s. So a little different piece, probably towards the end of production. Okay, this fish is cute. Who is this? American. Looks like American bisque, judging by the lines on the bottom, even though he has a shiny glaze like Royal Copley. American bisque did that sort of thing as well in the 50s. What a great face. Look at that mouth. And, marked down to $7 from $25. I would take that for $7. Yes, that'll swim into somebody's collection. And let's swim it up to the counter. And that's pretty good. We got something right away, and we just got in here. So let's see what else they've got. Baseball game. These little cream pitchers are 1930s. I know a lot of people think these are cute again, and I do too. They look like they're $7 or $8 though, and to me that's kind of the going rate on those. Looks like Melmac. I like the really wild designs and colors. And the stuff that's by Russell Wright, of course, is good too, if you can find it. Okay, so this is following the trend of a lot of southern malls like this that have records, and these are some pretty good ones. Those picture discs where it's a photo or a montage or collage, those are always $15, $20. Moody Blue and Blue, these are the kind of things that people will pay extra for just as novelties. Early Beatles there, yep, Cher, and Willie Nelson, all on picture disc. Colors, yeah, these are all Culture Club. Yeah, these are all definitely the right era. And yeah, look at that outfit. It's so funny. I remember people running around in jester hats like that. It seemed very impractical somehow. Cher again. Some of these might be bootlegs. This green picture on the right is Tiara's sandwich glass from the 1970s, and on the left that's Indiana glass, also from the 70s. People sometimes like to have these. They're very heavy, especially when filled with liquid. They are becoming somewhat collectible again, but they're pretty common. They made a lot of them then. There's a deer mount. And let's see in here. Again, it's just a hodgepodge in here. You could find anything anywhere. Look at this giant tapestry, though. That's French or Belgian. That's something that would have been very popular in the 1930s when Hearst Castle started really being publicized a lot. And William Randolph Hearst, bought a whole bunch of huge tapestries and hung them in there. And let's see, the Vernonware. I've always liked all of these striped Vernonware. I think this is Tam O'Shanter. Is that right? Oh, it's gingham, that's right. Tam O'Shanter has another color in it. There's various plaids that they did around 1950 when plaid was really in style. And they did maroon and blue, they did gray and yellow. It's pretty stuff, actually. In the right setting, it can be really vibrant. These are very 70s. I think these came from Sears. Yes, it says Sears, 1978. They were very flimsy. They were made in Korea and Japan and as cheaply as possible, so finding them in good shape is tough. And Mr. Alligator, I would love to find him in good shape too, but I have a hunch. Let's see, he's okay there, but there's where the problem is. These got used and they start to tatter along the fringes, and I'm not good at repairing this one. The stuffing is coming out of. They're gruesome, but as oddities, they're very collectible. Let's see, an over pool table light. These sell pretty consistently now, even the ones for light beer and some of these that were pretty simple and plain from the 80s. They'll go for $80 or $100 easy now. And then we have, well, garden art. Less said the better. How would you like to live next to that? Blue dresser, on the other hand, it's interesting. I don't think it's the original paint. I think it's had several layers, but I could see where that could be freshened up pretty neatly. Okay, the double swan is Camark. I haven't seen one of these in a long time. I used to get them a lot. The white one in the middle I'm referring to. Camark was out of Arkansas. The chartreuse ones were by Hull Pottery from the 50s, but Camarks are a little earlier. Let's see what they've got on this. Yeah, looks like about 20 to 24 on these, and that's pretty much the going rate, has been for a long time. Sometimes the Camark one is marked, and sometimes it's not. But, you know, those are not thrift store prices. Oh, I just want this guy to be in a little better condition, but he's really great. He's chalkware, and he's got this probably 1960s, maybe even early 70s session-style clock coming out of him. The base is just a little chipped up, though, and he is heavy. I mean, the fact that he's alive is amazing. That's kind of... I like that plastic with the cut-through. That's the kind of odd thing that occasionally sells for me. And then there's these out of the 70s. I think they're Pyrex. No, Federal Glass. That's right. Federal was out of Chicago, and they have the F and a shield on the bottom, so that is an easy way to distinguish them. But some of their patterns are pretty collectible, too, now. They did all of these various zodiac signs around 1970. It was very popular, kind of a hippie-era collectible. And you can collect a full set with a little bit of patience, especially if you're willing to buy online. If you want to thrift a whole set, that might take a little bit longer. Oh, hi. Yum. Okay, these are missing their holder, but these are Siesta ware, which has these mahogany jackets. And, oh, that's the Tapa pattern, the Hawaiian Tapa pattern, which is very cute with treasure craft. It's from the same era. It's mid-60s. They would use actual mahogany veneer or walnut veneer sometimes, depending on the pieces. Just it's so hard to find it not split or put in a dishwasher and ruin. The pattern is strong on here, but you can see just climactic differences. Yeah, there's cracks in the wood cladding, and that really is what makes them. So finding them in good shape is hard. That's what you usually see right there, a big split down the middle. It's too bad, because those at that price would have been really great. Oh boy, I've been needing some fresh costume jewelry, and bracelets seem to be selling, and there are some nice ones in here. These are all 1960s. Now there's a lot of amber, which is not everyone's color, but it seems like good colors, and the shades seem like they're rich. They don't look cheap, and that's important with costume jewelry because it's supposed to be bling, but it's also supposed to look nice. This one for $15. They're all priced about where I might be able to double on the ones that I think I can sell. That one's a little thin, and I don't dig the color. But the green one here, this emerald, that's out of the 50s. Looks like a Japanese style clasp. They were starting to make some of the fittings over there by then. And then this one is, how much is this? Wow, $12. The cheapest one and the one that is Juliana. You can tell by that construction on the back with the oval links, and that one is going to be worth the most money as a result. I am pretty happy about these. Yes, I'll take 3 at least at $15 a piece. If you know costume jewelry, you can shop a place like this, and look, it looks great on my hairy wrist. I just put them on to make sure they're of a size that somebody could wear. I have pretty thin wrists for a man, so for a woman, I'm probably a little bit on the large sides, and that's good, because you want your customers to be able to wear all of this stuff. And there's the Juliana, and yeah, I'm excited about this. This is a good deal. Okay, and this one, even though it's a stretcher, and I don't usually buy those, this looks like it's a vintage one, probably 70s, maybe early 80s, and that's got a good look to it, and it's in good shape. It's not all stretched out, it's not worn. Those are important factors, and it's black, and that's a nice color with a lot of other things, or a non-color, I guess, as it is, more of a neutral, and it's only $6, so yeah, I'll have that one as well. Wow, so this place is shaping up for me. What else do they have in jewelry here? Yeah, that doesn't really grab me. I'm picky about it. It's got to jump out a little bit, especially nowadays, because it doesn't just sell for sitting there. It has to be something that really attracts people's attention now. They won't just buy it willy-nilly. There was a time with costume jewelry where they'd buy anything you put in front of them, but people are a little more sophisticated about it now, I think. So this is a foil-back silhouette, and it's reverse painted, so the black is on the glass, and you see the pretty swans there. The ivory is also painted on the glass. This is called Swan Pond, and it is by Reliance, which was out of New York and Chicago. These were very attractive to people in the late 20s and through the 30s and into the Second World War era, and you see them used in advertising even as late as the 50s, but wow, $55. That is an ambitious price for a store that has Thrift in its name. I realize, though, they're selling antiques too, so it's a hybrid, but it's funny how sometimes when you're in a place that most of the dealers are more thrift-minded, they price the antiques really high sometimes. But again, I've already put a few things at the counter, and I think it's going to be good here. This is a nice Nippon stein, or tankard, not a stein, it doesn't have a lid. But it's the Moriage with the enamelware. But again, it's got a hairline crack, and it's $50. It's just too much for condition. And then this guy is very pretty, 1930s, and he has a hairline crack. So you really have to be careful when you go to places. I think sometimes, depending on the caliber of the mall, sometimes antique malls jury the stuff a little more. But this is cute, and $14 is fair for that. It's a neat little 1930s Japanese lusterware flower frog, and it's just very sweet. So, you know, you hit things, it depends on the dealer. Now, these are interesting. These are Florentine, and they're big floor vases. It almost looks like you could wire them as lamps. This is something I haven't really seen before, and I think they're pretty cool. And $250 is fair for the pair, because this stuff's really popular now, especially large pieces. This is a coal scuttle. This one's English. I like the brass trim. I've had these a couple of times. They were used in the United States as well, of course, and it was to keep the coal next to your fireplace, so you didn't have to run to the cellar and dig it out. They're usually priced in a few $100 range, and this one is nicely carved, I would say right around 1900 with that tacking. You see a lot of furniture tacked around that time also. These are really cute. Here's how. These are celebrating various people partying, and these little plates would have been something very popular right around the end of Prohibition. I would say you're probably looking at 1930s on these. Salute. I think there's a couple different types that repeat, and they've got this set at $35. I could see where if you price these out individually, They're an English company, Fanciful, that we don't see very often, is where they were from, and they did cute transferware. And England, of course, had different mores than we did at that time. This is something that I really like. It's Spelter. He's using tongs. I like anything that's industrial looking. The sculpting is really good on this. Spelter was such a soft metal, and so it wasn't as hard to form as bronze, and so you could sometimes see them sort of scrimping on the sculpting, but this guy really has good detail. And I believe these wood sticks are probably replacements of the original wire, but I don't think it would be hard to replace them with something appropriate. So you can tell it's old by this single hexagonal nut on the bottom. That's going to be 1890s. It's turned wood at the base. It's got the right wear in the right places. It doesn't have any holes. It wasn't dropped or dented. It wasn't scratched. The finish isn't bad, and he's only $35. Now, this is the thrift part of thrift store. If you know what you're looking for in a place that does thrift and antiques together, you can definitely buy, because you're going to find things that are not necessarily attracting one type of thrift store shopper. Let's look in the showcases, because you never know, in a place that mixes new and old and thrift and bargain with antique, you can find stuff. Big old key there, and that's a nice meerschaum pipe. I like the carving. It looks like it hasn't been used, but more than I want to pay. I see spectacles. Sometimes those are gold. I don't have a tester with me. Oh, these pogs are kind of fun. All these old movie stars. I don't think there's any room in them for me. $5 seems like it would be about the going rate, but that's pretty cool. Is that Jimmy Stewart? No, Alan Ladd. Okay, that's who I recognize over on the right. Oh, I think this is interesting with the carving. They kind of want a lot of money for it, but it's really neat the way they did it. I have to give them credit. It looks like they charred it and then carved it back. So not just your usual desiccated cow skull, but something that's really an art piece. Letter opener saber, some new spurs. I like these rolling cabinets because they can put a lot of fun little things, and it's always worth a quick scan. Marine Corps. Okay, these little guns are kind of cool. They probably make little sparks. $10 though, I'd say that's probably what they're worth. They're not like cap guns. Keychains, coins, but those look newer. And little jewels. And more coins, more medallions and tokens. But this all looks like fairly new collector's stuff to me, little sterling pieces. A little bit of military, but that's all pretty common. Wooden nickels. Well, okay. Hey, here we go. This side of the case, let's see what we've got. World War I medals, cufflinks, State of New Jersey. $25 though. Yeah, that's probably about the going rate for a badge like that, but it's nice that it has the enameling. Nice pipe under there. I like the clicker with the clown. He's sort of a, not really a spooky clown, and a mild diuretic to the kidneys. Doan's pills. New knives. There is, a couple, the lighter. If that had any beer logo on it, that would be worth a lot more than $5. More tokens. Yeah, this might be U.S. mail from the Wonder City. That's kind of fun. And pocket knives, old pens and pencils, but they're all around $5 each. Spyglass toy. Yeah, that might be kind of fun for $5. Yeah, actually, I kind of like that. We'll have them come get that out for us. Okay, anything else? Yep, we're back at the beginning.
So while I'm thinking of it, please comment in the space below here, and also hit the thumbs up button to like this video. If you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button below.
Also, hit the bell below to be notified of new videos coming every Monday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And thank you so much for following along. Let's go back to this video.
Oh, this is really neat. Okay, now they have a dealer here who has some really cool stuff. And it's priced retail, but it should be. Look at that lion. It's from a Franklin. The Franklin was a really interesting car. They were air-cooled rather than water-cooled. They apparently worked very well, but they were expensive. This guy is very handsome, and he looks like he's really in original condition. It doesn't look like he's been re-chromed or replated. It looks like he just wasn't used very hard at all, and that is really handsome. And, you know, you'd have to need that, but if you did need that, $195 would not faze you, because that's a multi tens of thousands of dollar vehicle if you were to restore one properly. So, beautiful piece. Oh, a Kewpie doll, and that's a real one. Rosie O'Neill came out with the Kewpies around 1911. The arms are a little bit loose. You always have to be careful picking up these old dolls, but it does have the wings. It doesn't have the heart in the back that says Rosie O'Neill, though, so it could be a later one or it could be a knockoff one, because there were lots of bootleg ones when they became popular. Human beings are something that I'm noticing at thrift stores. These were cutesy things made by Enesco in the early 80s and I'm seeing them starting to pop up on eBay. I don't think they're selling for a ton, but they do lots of different things. And these are priced at, $18 each. Well, that's more than I think they're selling for online from what I've seen. So, we'll just put that back down. But this is something that people are starting to notice. It was all about hobbies or occupations. So bowlers, nurses, all sorts of people got these as little gifts. This is a very pretty 1930s Japanese wall pocket. I really like these shapes. I think they're very graceful. The lusterware is fun and vibrant. And $18 to me is not really a lot of money to pay for those. I'm always surprised they're not a little higher than that. It's not enough room for me to buy, though. $29 on the vanity mirror with the roses. The roses do sell for more than the other patterns when you see those gold mirrors. And I like this little boudoir set. It's cute with the cherubs. It looks like 1950s. It's not really Victorian. It's Japanese to look like Victorian, but it's nice. Let's see what else. Pink depression glass, green depression glass, and some Czech glass. I like that one with the feet. Let's see how much and condition. A lot of these are not marked Czechoslovakia, but they are all from there. I like the one in the back too, but these are, again, they're pricing a lot close enough to retail that it really isn't a bargain for me. These are fun. Great color. I like the pastels, and the gold is nice. It just sort of jumps out. It seems to be what people are interested in having right now. And this set of 6 is $30. This is Sir Walter Raleigh from Raleigh Cigarettes, and this is another spelterware piece. I bought one of these because I like advertising, and I thought it was interesting. And boy, this one's only $7. I bought one and paid, I think, $20 for it, and eventually got $30 for it. So for $7, I think I have to have another one. He seems to be in good shape. $7.50. Yeah, I'll take this guy. I think he's fine. He'll clean up on top. You always have to look for corrosion with these. Ladies of the White House, or in the home of the presidents. Interesting. Well, that is a pretty attractive looking book, but it's $75. Now, it may well be worth that because this is a first edition, it appears, and it's not something that I've ever seen before. And I've actually got an interest in these types of books because of family history, so it's something that I would have thought would have crossed my view before. This is something where you look up at an AB Books and try to find out what people are doing. Oh, there's a big no-no. Don't ever leave newsprint or yellowing things inside of books because they will stain the pages. Especially bookmarks can be bad. Ah, Howdy Doody stuffed in a box. It's a hand puppet from the late 50s. That show was so popular. And there's Clarabelle the Clown, his sidekick, one of his sidekicks, in hard plastic. Same era. I think these are priced about 20 a piece, but you know, that generation is just not collecting their childhood anymore. They pretty much have lived that out. So I don't see Howdy Doody really going up in value. This is an interesting pegged piece. It's supposed to look like a cobbler's bench, but these were made by some different companies, especially up in New England in the 1950s, based on the old cobbler's bench design. You can tell because there's no dovetailing that this one is a 50s vintage as opposed to an original one. Also, these hinges here, very typical of 1950s and 60s strap hinges with just the look of it. It's too perfect to have been hand-hammered. So I was staking that. But, you know, it's priced well for what it is. At least they're interesting looking for coffee tables. Ah, here we go. This space, 20% off on all items all summer. Summer, look. This is a pet peeve of mine, I have to say. If you're a dealer, take your signs down and keep up with the seasons, because otherwise it makes it look like you haven't been in to take care of things for a while. It does not look like summer to me. I'm just saying. But they do have a nice display here, and in that regard, it looks like they do take care of the booths, so you just have to kind of watch your displays and promotions and make sure that you keep them fresh. Bunch of reproduction signs here. Aw, what a sweet mom. So, these are zombie glasses, but I've never seen the acrylic holders before. Those just make those awesome. I love it. And they're priced about what they should be for the set, so I can't take them, but boy, are those sharp looking. I really enjoy that. So, I haven't seen this 1930s chalkware, I guess? Low-fired ceramic, anyway. This chieftain before has this strangely conquistadorish looking face, in my opinion, which seems odd until I see where it says made in Mexico. Well, there you go. I guess it's a different form of cultural appropriation, but people just use whoever was there to model for these things. They didn't really think of it that precisely back then. I don't know what $45 firm means. I can't imagine that being $45. It might have been pesos. But in any event, it's a bank. It's $30 now. That seems like a fair price for it. It is attractive. It just seems off in some way. This series is 1980s. The centennial of the Statue of Liberty kicked off a bunch of plates for various Art Deco-related structures like the Chrysler Building in New York. It's called Slice of Life. This is starting to be collectible. These are selling for $12 to $15 a piece now. And I actually thought they were interesting when they came out, and now they're vintage, and they seem like they're kind of legit. This guy's resemblance to Robin Williams is striking to me. I don't know if you see it, but this oval with the canting at the corners, where it cuts in at a bit of an angle, that's a canted corner. That's a different kind of convex frame from about 1910 that's a little harder to find than the regular ovals. And let's see, old mahogany shelf, and this one is $45. I mean, you know, that's a fair price for what it is. I don't think it's something for me. I would definitely change the knobs. Old cartoon cells, you know, they made a ton of these. They're cool. They're just not necessarily really valuable, but they are certified, so you can definitely tell when you have a real one. And they're pretty easy to get values on. It's just that so many went through the stores back in the 80s and the 90s that they really kind of oversaturated the market. But this one does have at least the information that it's Rue and what it's from and which edition. So it's very complete. I mean, these are very thoroughly researched. Everybody knows what they've got. So this is California Original stoneware. And this is late in the game for them, late 70s, by Susie. I'm not sure who Susie was. It does have their color of glaze. Theirs wasn't as warm as Treasure Craft. But it says right there, California Originals Artist. Today's gift, tomorrow's heirloom. And, well, 50 years later, and somebody feasted on the tag, but at least it's still there, because otherwise you wouldn't know this was by them necessarily. It doesn't have any other marks other than a mold number, I think, in the back. I haven't seen one of these in ages. Yep, there it is. So you really have to know by the glaze that it's them. Treasure Craft was upscale from them in the hierarchy of what department stores you sold to. This is a really original, fresh, very nice smiley face glass. And it's got the right mark on the bottom. It has the right turned up corners of the mouth. And it's $4. Wow, yeah, I buy these all day long for $4 each. I'll take this for sure. M&M's. And restaurant wear. Okay, these are kind of nice. But they're not that uncommon. This pattern was sold all over the country. It's some sort of a rose, I think. It's American Beauty, yes. Canonsburg Pottery out of Pennsylvania. A lesser known, but still good quality company. Hand painted. Let's see what else they have. Parker with the cameo wear, that white on the blue. That was a 2-layer process. And then this is Cam Art out of Arkansas. Pretty blue color. They came in several different colors. This is when Cam Art became a small company in the Depression years by doing molded pieces. They survived. They'd been an artware company before that, but the market dropped out. Aw, look, it's the Sears Frog, and I think this is the bank. If it's not damaged, which they usually are, nope, it looks good. It even has the stopper, mainly. That's as good as they get. Yes, I'll take this. This is great. I haven't really seen one of these in any kind of condition because they were so fragile. They were made in Korea and Japan, and they're just nothing to them. But this is $2. Very happy. These look later to me, though. Yep, rubber stoppers. No, I don't like that style particularly. This is Pottery Craft. This was a branch of Treasure Craft that did stoneware, and in the late years they did some bakeware. This would have been early 1980s, and they're very durable. They're actually very well made and nicely marked. They are something that I think is a little overlooked in the marketplace right now, but if you're looking for cookware you can microwave and is truly vintage, then that is really well-made stuff. Oh, let's see where someone went on vacation, because there's a couple of Treasure Craft trays, and, well, they're certainly cheap enough. I mean, now there were stacks of these when they were new. They're not unusual to find, necessarily, but, yeah, looks like this is in really good shape. It wasn't dishwashed. The brown glaze was not glazed over. It was rubbed in, so it's easy to chip. And so if they're in good shape, these are. Yep, so you've got San Francisco, and you've got, yeah, very cool. I'll take these. They're only a few dollars each. And they're a lot of fun. Great colors. I just enjoy it. This lamp, well, the shade's pretty outrageous too, but look at the base. I might put a different shade on it and really go for the gold gusto, because this is such a Hollywood Regency base, and it's only $35. It's from the late 1960s. Yeah, they do seem to have all the 60s and 70s stuff downstairs, and these are the thrift store prices on a lot of things. I think the elephant cookie jar is a pretty good buy, except he's got to be chipped. That's too bad. Yeah, that's the problem with these. They got set down hard. This one's 1970s. You can tell by the color it's harvest gold. It's a California pottery, probably Joaquin potteries with that squared off USA script, and California. And these are really coming back. Cookie jars are starting to be collected again for the first time in years. A new generation is discovering them, which I think is really cool because there's fun ones out there. I'm not sure what you would do with this, but it looks like it's the end or badge for a piece of machinery, and it's got a great look. And the price seems good too if you could just find a way to repurpose it. Wanda Hendricks, she was a mostly Western actress in her early years of the 1940s, and then appeared in a lot of playhouse theater type things on television in the early days, and was even on Bewitched once. But I didn't realize that she was a pinup girl in her own right, and that she hawked RC Cola. And there she is, attractively holding the bottle from the Second World War. And this is priced, I believe, at about $65, which is fair. Best Buy Taste Test. Mickey Mouse phone. This was designed by Don Winton at the Treasure Craft Factory. Again, here we are in the 70s. Don Winton and his brother Ross had sold their factory because they got a bunch of money for the real estate, and they were friends of Treasure Craft, and they all made similar products. So he said, could I come mold in your studio? And they said, sure. And this is what he came up with for Disney, and it's a very, very famous design. It's interesting how designers really started to get around in the 70s and work for lots of different companies rather than just one. I like the pie crust shape on this mirror very much. It's very popular right now. Pie crust, anything from the 19-teens and 20s, is something that you will expect to pay big money for. So if you see a piece that's in really good condition and isn't, you should absolutely pick it up. If it's just a frame, if it's a picture, that might actually be great. And this is $12. I am definitely going to take that with me. Well, this is a really Spartan and very basic washstand here, but you see the big area to hang the towel below, and with a neat linen of some sort on there, that could be really attractive. The great thing is you could change color and design all the time, so it's a very utilitarian piece. But really, if you think about its purpose in the home, if it was displayed properly, it would be a lot more money than they're charging for it. I believe this is under $125. This is a fun and colorful late 50s, early 60s. It's a painting, but I don't really want to call it a painting because it's more of a screen-painted image. So these were factory produced, and whether Anne Cochran, who I could not find as a listed artist, was a real person or just a pen name for some career artist who did the design, it's still really fun. I like the birds. I like the color of the rushes. There's a little bit of creasing and damage here, though. This could be reasonably marked out with colored pencils in an acceptable way, but I think I'm going to pass on it because I am really a stickler for condition these days.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call it thrift, but I've got to say G&M had some fun surprises for me. I bought a few things that I wasn't expecting to see in there, and it was fun to look around. It's nice to see that there are some antiques mixed in with these flea markets in southern Georgia. It's not so easy to find a pure antique store, so I was pretty happy to do this. And I'll be back with more bargains and more vintage finds for you soon. In the meantime, this is George the Antique Nomad on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye now. Thanks for joining me again in the fun and fascinating antique community, here where online meets the real world. Please click the subscribe button below, click the bell to be notified when new videos upload, leave a comment below, and hit thumbs up to like this video. Links to our online social media daily posts and our items for sale are in the description. This is George at the Antique Nomad. Bye for now.